Imagine staring at a small silver USB drive that holds $220 million. You can see the digital glow of the balance, and you know the money is right there, inches from your fingertips. But between you and that fortune stands a single forgotten string of characters. This is the daily reality for Stefan Thomas, a man living a nightmare of his own making. He has only 2 guesses left before the drive encrypts itself forever. This agonizing situation started back in 2011 when the digital landscape looked nothing like it does today. At that time, Bitcoin was a fringe experiment, a decentralized whisper in a world of centralized giants. Stefan Thomas, a software developer in San Francisco, became an early believer in the technology. He spent his hours creating an animated video to explain this complex new currency to the masses. For his hard work, a Bitcoin enthusiast rewarded him with 7,002 Bitcoins. Those coins were worth roughly $140,000 back then, which felt like an incredible amount of money to a young developer. Thomas wanted to keep his new wealth as safe as possible, so he moved his coins off the public exchanges. He followed the core philosophy of the early crypto evangelists: be your own bank. He transferred the fortune into a private digital wallet and secured the access keys on an IronKey. This specific type of USB drive is a rugged, ultra-secure device designed for high-level encryption. By putting his keys there, Thomas felt he had placed his gold in a private, unbreakable vault. He was prepared for the future, or so he thought. The security he relied on eventually became his greatest enemy when he lost the piece of paper where he had scribbled his IronKey password. At first, he stayed calm, assuming the sequence of characters would eventually come back to him. He sat at his desk and tried a variation of a common password he used. The screen flashed incorrect. He tried another combination of numbers and letters. Again, the drive denied him. The silence of his office grew heavier with every failed attempt. The IronKey is designed to be an unforgiving sentinel that protects data at all costs. It allows a user only 10 failed attempts before it permanently wipes its own internal memory and destroys the data. This system has no forgot password link and no customer support line to call for help. In the decentralized world Thomas helped build, there is no safety net and no way to prove your identity to a machine. Each failed guess brought him closer to the permanent execution of his $220 million. As the years passed, the price of Bitcoin exploded, turning his lost coins into a global news story. Every time the market reached a new all-time high, the headline served as a personal taunt. The $140,000 grew into tens of millions, then hundreds of millions, while the USB drive sat silent in a drawer. Thomas described the first few weeks after realizing the loss as a period where he felt completely destroyed. He spent his nights staring at the ceiling for hours, his mind racing through every possible password he might have created in 2011. This psychological weight turned his life into a series of sleepless nights and constant what-ifs. He felt like a prisoner of his own creation, stuck with 8 failed attempts and only 2 chances remaining. The tension of having life-changing wealth within physical reach, yet totally inaccessible, is a burden few people can imagine. He realized that he was standing on a digital ledge, and one more wrong move could end his hopes of recovery forever. The intensity of that stress eventually forced Thomas to reach a breaking point. He realized that the human mind can only endure that level of tension for so long before it breaks. He stood at a crossroads where he had to choose between letting this ghost haunt him forever or finding a way to move forward. To save his own sanity, he made the difficult decision to stop guessing and get back to work. He put the IronKey away, treating the money as if it were already gone. Even with that resolve, a small glimmer of hope has recently emerged from the scientific community. Experts in high-end hardware forensics have reached out with a plan to use scanning electron microscopes. This process involves taking the physical chip apart and removing layers of silicon atom by atom to read the memory cells directly. It is a high-stakes, incredibly expensive procedure that requires a specialized laboratory. One tiny mistake by the technician would destroy the chip instantly, leaving Thomas with nothing. While he weighs the risks of that final operation, Thomas has found a new sense of peace in his daily life. The experience humbled him and shifted his perspective on how people should handle their digital wealth. He still believes in the right to financial privacy, but he now advocates for a more practical approach. He suggests that for most people, it is much safer to use a professional institution to store their coins rather than trying to manage everything alone. Because when you choose to be your own bank, you also choose to be your own security guard, your own IT department, and your own emergency hotline at 3 in the morning. And as one forgotten password proved, that's a lot of responsibility for a single human memory to carry.